Excess is the scourge of modernity. If you are not doing something every minute, you should be ashamed. We're mired in a culture of workaholism. It's fueled by millions of 30-year-olds who feel like they're 60. We overwork and think it's the right thing to do. And then we're surprised to see news stories of educators taping children's mouths shut. And we exhale, thinking we are far from such madness. But we're not. The ambition cross caught up with me. I was like a tightrope walker juggling bottles because I could. The craziness of work already made the entire world seem fictional. The sounds around me were muffled like a computer game. I later discovered that it was derealization. The majority of them have experienced it at least once. It's the body's reaction to stress. And then I find myself being burned out. I was cranky with the simplest of things that should be done, and I dragged them on for weeks. When I knew that it's time to switch as a responsible adult, I went to the internet. The articles signified the same commandments. Eat healthy, meditate, rest, exercise, and sleep well. But instead of pity, it was hatred. After all, I'm not working and I'm not satisfied yet. I avoided rest or tried to spend it with a head start, reddening at inactivity. Nerves replaced aerobics already, and there's little one could do against insomnia when the mind is haunting him. And so on and so forth. Our society does not pity a man if he doesn't so. They state that it is not the kind of labor that can kill you, and they don't even speak about mental health. So to say, rest for a while and everything will be all right. But no matter how long a 2-week vacation in a Buddhist temple, it won't save you. Let us start with some specificity. People with occupations that require creative output and constant communication are more prone to burnout. Designers, doctors, teachers, social workers, and so on. By default rule, to begin with, they were burning with work. And then the inner fire died out, and here is why. It's in the conflict between expectations and reality. You expected the people you help with your work to be more grateful. Nobody is thanking you, and everything seems like it is not being noticed. You lose sympathy, and now you're thirsty. You no longer do things in the same manner. Time has eaten the values that originally were. You don't look for new ways of working, you do the old, that'll suffice. You're disillusioned with the company, expecting a smooth career. The profits will grow, you'll drive ambition. You're always tired. There's no pleasure in the work that you do. It's a conveyor belt. There's no motivation, and you think back to the disappointed. You did not want to be that way, and vacation does not help to guide apron the problems. Once more weigh on your chest, so where is the way out, even though the reason seems to be the same for everyone? However, there are 3 types of burnout, and each has its approach. You are an overworked employee, hunched forward work always until victory. Coworkers are taken aback at your stamina, and you cannot do otherwise, and even soul are pounded into the work. No wonder why you gave all your strength. The first step is to acknowledge your workaholism, and not in a good way. Second, relearn the art of the line. Being out of work looks unbearable, but you're exhausted precisely because you've optimized your life with one job, and all professions are a waste of time. But that is basically wrong. In the 90s, Roy was a master's student and PhD candidate, a social psychologist. He and his colleagues developed an experiment. In a room full of the aroma of fresh chocolate chip cookies, the scientists gathered 67 adults. They were divided into 2 groups. The first was immediately treated with this dessert, and the second group of hungry eyes was handed an unfortunate radish. Then they were given a couple of tasks. And as you guessed, the second group, who were only teased with the sweet smell of baked goods, performed worse. But the inhuman experiment did not end there. Now the test subjects were given an impossible problem, and here too the result was the same. The first batch tried to solve it as many as 33 times within 20 minutes. The second group barely made it to 8 minutes, during which they made only 19 attempts. This is not Bowmaster's only study. He conducted several other variants even with the help of MRI, observing brain activity, and every time the result was expected. And it runs out when we fail to reward ourselves somehow for what we are doing. The main forces are spent on self-control, and the slack lands on labor, and you burn out. That doesn't mean it's time to follow every infantile call. Just alternate between leisure and work. Another question is how to allow yourself a break. It's important to get over yourself and find something you enjoy. Read, but not for work. Play an instrument. Go on hikes or even play computer games. If you're having trouble telecommuting and doing without people, know that socializing can be just as much of a vacation. Friends or family have probably already forgotten the last time you called them. In general, don't keep your eggs in one basket. Work keeps ambition at bay. Your ideas are being ignored. You don't see any prospects for growth, even though you need to show what you can do. And the longer your efforts go unnoticed, the more cynical you get about your work. The motivation to move forward evaporates, and you're already giving up on yourself. You feel emotionally drained. Then the thoughts erupt that whatever you're doing isn't yours, that you never loved it at all, that it's just a way to make money. And here it is important to understand why that passion disappeared. Take a piece of paper and a pen. Divide the sheet into 2 parts. Write down in the left column everything you love about your business. Why did you start at all? Why is it close to you? And in the right column, everything you don't like. You can even pause the video. If at least 1% of the pluses outweigh, stick to your path. When starting work, remember why you are doing it. If something from the right list, discuss it with your boss. You have time before and after work. It is completely yours. Maintain your strength with activities that are akin to an escape for the soul. When you are kept within limits and you know what you are capable of, then you strangle yourself with your own ambitions. Give them freedom in what you love or theoretically can love. Remember your list. Maybe you could find a job with similar interests. Then set a goal to learn something in a month. What would you even like to learn? There are plenty of free courses from universities on the internet. All that is needed from you is a breakthrough. The rest will go smoothly. Believe me, I started out like that myself. The third one is related to a situation when the working process is not organized. It is as if you have used your brain out. You do not have time for anything and are useless. But the problem is not near you, but in the system that dominates in work. Your boss is never satisfied with anyone's result. Totalitarianism rules in the office, which is why you and your colleagues are constantly stressed. There is never enough time for anything, and it's a vicious circle. The boss is constantly on edge because of 1,000 tasks with impossible deadlines that he himself was anticipating. The workers are existing in complete psychosis. However, the trick here is to get back the feeling that you are not in charge of your life and are the boss. Instead of having to try to recall the word no. It may be dangerous to say no to your boss, but there is still some room for maneuver. Divide your mind on all the work into 2 camps. What to do and what will make you a good and nice person in your management's eyes, and make the right decision. But it is better to solve the problem with your colleagues. Find among them those who are infected with the madness that is happening in the office. Perhaps they will help you when you should talk to your boss. If you cannot wait for an open discussion, it's better to discuss the issues in the presence of the HR manager. It's a war zone where you either draw a line in the sand or continue drowning in the swamp of failure and stress. It might be difficult to find the underlying causes that fuel burnout, and you can't cope without professional help. Don't assume that if you can't manage the problem on your own, then you're a wimp and there's something wrong with you. Therapy is the same kind of health maintenance as sports and proper nutrition. If you hate the place where you work 8 hours a day, you can get yourself chronic stress. Do not waste your time thinking about your recipe for happiness if you have experimented with everything that is in the world. Stress is a killer beast that you either defeat alone or it will devour you whole. I hope you had fun. Remember, we are the creators of our own reality, so create boldly. See you in the next one.